I can't help but having mixed emotions today. So excited about the opening week, finally being here, but I also wanted to acknowledge the loss of a great Wildcat last night in Talbot Todd. So we're thinking about him and praying for Marilyn and the family. So excited about this week, and we got a real challenge ahead of us, but we're excited to get rolling.
Questions? How would you summarize camp, where you guys are at, and what they
Yeah, I think we got a lot better. We had a physical camp. We feel like we developed some depth, and I like where we're at. I really do. I feel like we're an improved football team.
How is Southern Miss different this year than last year?
Well, I think the big thing is their quarterback. With losing a great player in Mullins like they did, I'm sure they have very capable guys that they're plugging in and very high on right now, but I would think that would be a major difference. But again, a very good football team, a team that beat us a year ago in our home stadium. We know it's going to be a real challenge going on the road, playing them, a team that won a bowl game a year ago, won 7 games, so we'll have our hands full. We have great respect for Southern Miss, and it's really about us. It's about our football team and our preparations and how we play, and that's the concentration, that's the focus this week. Anytime you head into week 1, there's a lot of unknowns. You feel good about your team. You feel like you put in a lot of work, but the first game is the first game. And the fact that we're going on the road, we always have a plan, but things change very quickly. And we're going to have to make sure we adapt much better than we did a year ago in the opener, and play a more sound football game. So I think we're a much different team right now than we were in week 1 last year. And but again, it's week 1. There are a lot of unknowns. There's players that are going to be playing that really have not played a significant role. We feel like we do have some experience, and so we got to really emphasize this week about the big thing is doing our jobs and doing their jobs. I think last year you look at the film and one bad thing led to another. Guys trying to do too much, and so we have a lot to learn from. We learned last year from the loss, and we have to do our best as a coaching staff to offset that before it happens this year.
Coach, what right now would you consider your greatest unknown?
Well, I think I don't know about any specific position. I just think as a football team, when you go into the first game, it's definitely a little different. You just again, you feel the confidence in the preparation and the work that's gone into it for an entire year, but it's just different in game 1. Like I said, we always have a game plan. And as we all know, those game plans change very quickly at times. So we have to make sure we just rely on the responsibilities, the keys, and the system that we have on offense and defense, and make sure we do that. And again, a big point of emphasis and that we'll be drilling into our players this year is doing their job. And you have to have a trust. You have to have a great amount of trust in the system, and you have to have trust in the guy next to you.
Where do you think with the way scheduling works now, we're going to see more Power 5 programs have to go to these smaller schools just to get games, or was this kind of a unique situation with that?
Yeah. When we lost UAB, threw a wrinkle in our schedule, obviously, but I couldn't even tell you. I can't even tell you what we have next year, to be honest with you. Mark Hill's back there. You could ask him, check with him. But I'm going to play the schedule that's in front of me.
Mark, you've had some significant changes, transitions in your coaching staff these past couple of years with the team. We talk a lot about team chemistry. Mm-hmm. How would you describe the chemistry among your coaching staffs?
Very, very good. Yeah, I feel very comfortable with the staff. I really like the guys we have in place. I feel like there's a great camaraderie within our staff. It's been a lot of fun. Like I mentioned it the other day, and with camp's long. We just were in there 4 weeks beating heads against each other for 4 weeks. That gets old. So it's nice to get into game week finally and prepare for somebody different. But sometimes that can be very challenging and very competitive for 4 weeks. And, we've had very few problems, very little drama within the team, and hope to keep it that way. And I think the guys are really focused and working hard, but the same with the staff. I think there's a great chemistry there. There's a great camaraderie. I have high trust in all these guys, and we're looking forward to it. I think the new guys have been really good additions as well.
Coach, in preparing for this game, do you bring up a lot of what happened last year? Do you try to instill some of that shock that they did to you?
I think, if you heard me talk over the years, I look back very little, but you have to learn in every opportunity. You've heard me say that a bunch too. We're in a learning environment, and we have to learn from the first game mistakes a year ago, and every week and every day, we learn from the mistakes. So there will be some of that, not so much as motivation, but just to try to offset some issues that always pop up early in the season.
With Southern Miss's quarterback situation, how prepared are you to possibly face maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah, we're prepared for whatever they decide to do. We've worked very hard this camp at many different styles of offense, and all the quarterback runs that could go with it, and the design quarterback runs, and of course the offense that is going to be in place, the plays that you expect to see year in and year out. So the nice thing is our offense is extremely versatile, and they give us quite a bit, and we get a lot of different looks from them as well.
Do you anticipate trying to get Drew into this game, or are you just seeing his job?
Yes, I would love to get Drew in the game. I think he deserves an opportunity, and we'll see where it goes. That's very difficult at that position, but we have a lot of trust in Drew, and we absolutely would love to get him in this game.
Mark, you talk about the things they present you, you haven't had your staff in place for 2 years, and been able to get into your toolbox sooner than normal. Is this a thing that they haven't seen, don't expect to see?
Yeah, there's always wrinkles in game plans. There's always wrinkles in your system, certainly from year to year. You look at things that you didn't do well, the things you did well, and how do you build off of it and build your system. So there's always a few new wrinkles. They'll have some, and we'll have some.
How many freshmen are coming out?
I would say possibly up to 8.
True freshman.
True freshmen, yeah. Pascal, Bohanna, Dort, Epps, Bowden, Ollie, possibly Kovac and Watkins. Nasir.
Mark, how comfortable are you with Lynn Bowden at both punt and kick returns on the depth chart?
I'm comfortable. He's very talented. He looks very at ease back there catching him in practice, but we all know practice is different. So we anticipate to try to get him some touches.
There are a lot of oars on the depth chart as far as the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that is sort of the ripple effect of losing Cole? And how much do you think you're just going to shift them around all season, or is this like a...
No, we just we put it that way because that's how it is today, and that's truly how it is. So we'll see. We are evaluating that situation. We know we could start Landon at left tackle, and Kyle's been comfortable at right, but he can play left. And the reason being is because George has been so good. George has played extremely good football for us, and he's been the most consistent that he's been. So you feel like you have 3 starters there, with George and Kyle and Landon. So I think I have confidence in all 3 of those, and whichever way we decide to go, that's the way we'll go. There'll be a rotation. They'll play at some point. Kyle will definitely play the left at some point in that game.
Then the center and the guard spots are sort of...
They're always interchangeable there. We feel very fluid, at that situation.
Is that a sign of just how athletic that group is? How versatile?
It is. I think Nick is very versatile, and Bunchy is as well, and so, you definitely feel like Nick can certainly have a benefit of playing some center, but he's also very athletic at guard, and they're interchangeable, and that's a nice thing.
I mean, you're very confident with Charles. Is that kind of fluid in the sense that somebody else may do or something?
We'll see. Ball security is key. That's the number one objective is to get the ball back, and Charles has been very reliable in that area. So we'll see how that goes.
What kind of camp did Jordan Jones have?
I think he's been more disciplined, played more disciplined football. He's always got that wow factor, and he has great passion and energy and explosiveness. So he has the ability to get to the football. But I think he's understanding concepts much better than he ever has.
How's the punting situation?
We're working on it. We're working through it. I think I'm interested to see how Matt does in the game, and I'm not sure how it'll go. Whether both punters will get an opportunity, we'll see how it goes. I think it's been close. They both have had some days, but I'm excited to see what Matt can do with the ball. And I think Grant, the same thing. I think he's been more consistent than he's been, and he's had some better days, and he's improved, but there's still some inconsistencies there.
Mark, I wanted to ask you, before you got into the heat of the football season, you're a pretty emotional guy. You're very, very fiery football
Who
coach.
says?
You wear your emotions on
Yeah.
your sleeve.
Yeah.
How do you strike the right balance between
Motivating the team through your passion versus maybe letting your emotions get caught up with you on the field?
Well, I think it's an emotional game. That's for sure. But there's also a lot of poise that it takes to execute in this game, and our players are the same way. I want them to have great emotion, but they have to play with discipline. And I think as a coach, there's always that fine line. That you have to go with your gut instincts on what those players need at that moment, and that's the way I've always been, and probably the way I'll always be. But certainly. You have to have the poise and the execution. That's what's most important.
I think you said this time last year that you were able to kind of sit back and just worry about coaching and not some of the other things that have to do with the program after you've been here. Going into your fourth season, are you in an even better spot? This year going into year 5, and does it seem as stable as ever?
Definitely. I felt it today, for the first time, because I really, the things that are necessary that all the things that you have to do as a head coach in the fundraising and the recruiting and just everything, where you're getting pulled a lot of different directions. But then you get into training camp, and it's a lot of fun because you get to just hone in and coach ball for the most part. When Tony doesn't come in and bug me all the time, then I get to get to go to work and enjoy the film, and then game week comes around, and then all the duties start popping up again, and so I love that. I love that part of it. And but no, it is better. It's better, and I'm not complaining. I want to stay as a head coach, so I'm not complaining about the duties that it takes. But yes, I think I'm more comfortable. I felt like this year it was a benefit in a way because of the coaching change on defense. With starting over, even though the guys were in place and Matt was an in-house promotion, it was nice to kind of strip it all down and start over again, to nobody's fault, going back through the many years when we started here, of all the different things we put in, as I've talked about many times, trying to patch things and do things and all that. It was nice going into year 5, stripping it down, seeing what we do well, what we can't do, and kind of building it again from the ground up. It just gave us an opportunity to do that, and so spending a lot of time in the off season kind of building it to where I'm much more comfortable and much more knowledgeable of the way it's built from the ground up, and I think that has been helpful. It's been a joy to work with Matt and the entire defensive staff, and so hopefully we'll play a lot better and a lot cleaner early than we did a year ago. And again, that's I don't want to go back, but to nobody's fault. Again, the inexperience on defense is hard to replace. When you go early in the season, it's rough, and we definitely have some guys that have some more experience, and hopefully that helps us.
How are you health-wise going into this game? Or were there any other significant
There was nothing significant besides the 2 season-ending injuries. Those were significant enough for us to last a while, hopefully.
Mark, is it weird being the only member of your family entering this season as the head coach?
Yeah, it is a little bit strange. Certainly, if I see a clip once in a while promoting college football or something, I see the Sooners on there. It's definitely a little different for me, that's for sure. Still got one brother there, so I'll always be rooting for them. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit strange and different. It's been, 18 years or whatever it's been, 19 years. So certainly, it's part of our life for a long time.
Is Bob going to come to some UK game?
I hope so. We'll see. He's a tough man to track down right now. He's enjoying himself a little bit. But, yeah, I'm sure he'll plan on getting here. Yeah. Yeah, he was here in the spring, and he's gotten better. He's one of those guys that he's consistent. He's just out there. He's kind of quietly going about his business every day, but he's taking the medicine. I like to say he's taking the coaching. He's getting better every day, and he kind of quietly going about his business, and he's been consistent. He's earning the trust of us, and with that, it gives us the ability to move Jordan around a little bit and play him possibly some inside as well.
You were talking about defense earlier, and how much did it help having a coach like Dean who has been a coordinator and a head coach?
Dean is a great addition. He's, again, a seasoned veteran, a guy that's been around. He's got a really good demeanor about him. He's a fun guy to work with, and he's helped in a lot of ways, I think, with the input on defense, also with with special teams and his ideas on special teams, and as well as just program building, and just a guy that I have a lot of confidence in, a lot of trust in to bounce ideas off of. He's been wonderful to work with.
And you're Cleveland Browns fan.
Yeah. Well, of course. Come on, Lonnie. Come on, Lonnie.
Mark, you were a DJ for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with Matt like? And
What do you feel like your strengths?
Yeah, I've been around. Hey, when you two are done over there, I'll get going again. Okay. Yeah. I know. Well, turn your cell phone off. If that happens in a team meeting, I take the phone. So give me the phone. Yeah. So, but Matt, I have a lot of confidence in Matt. It's been a lot of fun to work with him, but he's a guy that has good experience. He's been around here for a year. Had the opportunity to sit back and see what we did a year ago well and what we didn't do so well, and have an opportunity to kind of start fresh that way. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mark, are you surprised we're 18 minutes in and nobody's mentioned 2 names, 2 words, Chad Dawson?
Yeah, I am kind of surprised, but that's an easy, that's not a difficult question for me. Again, I said it a year ago, we're past that. Shannon is a good football coach, or I wouldn't have hired him. You know what I mean? So he's a very good coach, and he's done well, and certainly he proved that a year ago right here in this stadium. So I'll leave that from last year, but he and I have no issues, and I wish him nothing but the best, him and his family.
Mark, in terms of true freshman, Clevon Thomas, is he play?
He will. Yep. Did I not mention Cleveland? No. Yeah, he will definitely play. Might be the first one in.
We haven't heard too much this camp about Cedric Dort. What's he bring to the table that he's one of those?
Like I just said, I think he's just been steady. He's gotten better every day. He just goes about his business. He's a guy that we need to continue to develop and get stronger and get bigger. But he'll do that, and he's steady. He has good instincts. He comes from a great program at Dwyer High School, and good friend of mine with a beautiful name. Jack Daniels is his head coach. Jack and I go back many years, both figuratively and literally. No, Jack's a good man. So is the bottle. No. I can't say that in Kentucky, right? Can't drink Jack Daniels. No, that was back when I was in college.
Coach, I know you said that you would be using this game as extra motivation for your players looking back to last year. How are you yourself using this game? As though last year, I think you even apologized for the loss. You said you had never done that before. Is that what's on your mind going into this?
Well, I mean, again, you have to learn from every situation. There are things, most definitely, that we've taken from that have changed us, the whole program. You know, there was issues last year. There were things that I was not real happy with, obviously. You know, but it goes back to day one, and you've heard me talk about this. It's a fundamental football game. Football's about fundamentally playing the game. We didn't fundamentally play the game very well last year at times. Scheme is scheme, fundamentals, fundamentals. And I think that's a big piece of it, and we grew from that, you know, from that point on last year. The inexperience and all those things pop up, but it's still, when you fundamentally can do things, and, you know, again, if you're in position, if you just play with fundamentals and you don't do that, then you have a real problem. We grew from that, and I think that's part of everything that we do in the off season now, is not letting those things happen and beating a dead horse and beating guys over the head, you know, to the point where they will not make the same mistakes again. So we know nobody's perfect. There's going to be mistakes, but you have to be able to overcome them. And so there's many things that we'll take from that. Even there's many, as I really didn't prep too much for this, but as I prepped for my team meeting with the players today, there's a lot of things, a lot of points of emphasis that we had to learn from a year ago in the opener. What's that?
Are there advantages to starting on the road?
That's part of it. I think so, because I know, again, without getting too in depth and certainly without making an excuse, but there were things that we have to learn from going into game one, because these players work an awful lot all year long, and they get so emotional and so jacked up to play a game that emotion's only going to take you so far. And you have to be able to execute and play with poise, and that is part of it, and that's part of my talk, yes, that there are some benefits from playing on the road, because I know we're going to be excited and fired up to play the opener. How can you not be? But it's about containing those emotions and playing with some poise and not, you know, in heat. And, you know, the first game of the year, I think we left a lot in the locker room. You know, I talked about it a year ago. We went in there at halftime, and you know, there was not a lot of energy left. And so we have to learn from that. We have to be able to make sure we have more depth. We have to play a lot of guys early in this game and rotate some guys in to have some in our tank to play in the second half. But also emotionally, I think players have to learn how to deal with that. And so that's where playing on the road hopefully will help you.
What are you seeing that's different in the defensive line that you're happy about?
I think the first thing is they're taking more pride in their work and the way they're going about their business. I think it starts there, and you know, I think their work ethic has improved. Fundamentally, we're improving. We're gaining more depth. So there's a lot of things that we're doing better. He was sick for a while, so he's back practicing, and he'll work his way in the rotation. Yeah.
Mark, how is Steven Johnson a better player than the guy we saw at the end of last year?
Well, I think, you know, the number one issue is ball security, and I think he's worked really hard with that. I think he's, as you know, he's a very conscientious young man, and that's extremely important to him. And I think that's the biggest area. I think he's worked hard at accuracy and understanding defenses and the offense and where to go with the football in a lot of areas, I think. But the number one issue would be protecting the football.
How is Drew Barker a better player than when we last saw him?
I think experience. I think he's definitely has some more experience, and he had the opportunity to go in and get his feet wet a year ago and play in the opener, and played very well here last year, in particular in the first half, and did some very good things. And now to come back and just be a year older. Obviously, he missed that time, which doesn't help any player to have to sit out and rehab. But he's come back strong. He looks very healthy, and looks stronger, and mentally he's more prepared. And he's chomping at the bit. And the great thing about Drew is he has done what we've asked him to do, and that's really just, again, you've heard me talk about, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but I mean, just go to work and get better. I mean, let's not worry about who the starter is and who's not. Whenever he goes into the game and gets the opportunity, he has to function at a high level. And he's taken that attitude of just going to work every day at practice to improve himself. And sooner or later, he's going to get an opportunity to go in a game and play, and hopefully he'll play at a high level.
Has he done full contact?
Yes. Yes. I mean, we don't hit quarterbacks anyway,
You mentioned Kovac may or may not
for
play.
the most part. Sorry.
You mentioned Kovac may or may not play. Has he been healthy to a certain point, or when did you guys bring him on full?
He's had a couple issues. He's come back from the surgery he had in high school, and coming back in, he was looking very good. And then because he wasn't in the shape and wasn't able to train all summer, he had a minor hamstring injury, and that's kind of set him back a little bit as well. But now he's coming back off that, and what we have seen out of him and what we saw in him in the last scrimmage was very encouraging. So we'll see where it goes and how the health issues hold up with the running backs. So the good thing is we know he's going to be a very good player. So we'll see if we need to use him or not, and let him get back at full strength and go from there. So that's why I say I'm not positive he'll play in the first game.
Year 5 is kind of potentially around 8 freshmen, kind of what you'd like to use from
What's-
maybe going forward.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about playing freshmen is because they jump out at you, not because you need them. So that's the big difference. So if a freshman could come in and help because he jumps out at you, that's what you're looking for. Guys that are prepared to come in and play and help you. And we have some of those guys in this class because the depth is certainly there. I mean, maybe not exactly what you want. Everybody's striving for great depth and building the program you want. But we're not playing these guys just because they have to fill a hole. That's the difference. And, a guy like Josh Paschal is a guy that is a great example of that. And, all players would tell them that way. Just, make us not play you. If you jump out and produce, then we have to play you. And he's a guy, I think, that fits that role.
What do you see from the same team to give him that number 2 job on the depth chart there?
He's been more consistent. He's really grown in a lot of ways. I think he's a more disciplined football player, and I've been pleased with him. He gives us a nice change of pace, and he's had a consistent camp, and he's been a touch up and down in the past, and so I'm excited to give him some opportunities.
You mentioned kind of building the defense back after tearing it down. What's the biggest difference going into this year compared to when you started and initially built it up when you got to Kentucky?
Well, again, I've gone back to that. That takes some time to answer that. But through the years, some of the media, I'm not sure how long you've been around, but again, going back to year 1 and to now, things change. You're always building on your system. You're always tweaking it and trying to get better in certain areas, and then also through some situations where you're trying to maybe patch some holes. You try to start doing some things, and it can be counterproductive at times. So I think we're beyond that point now, and that's where I say it's different.
I think this is the first season opening press conference you've had where no one has asked you about expectations or bowl eligibility or wins. I don't know if that's because we know you're not going to answer it, or if is it.
Does it feel different though for you? It seems like on this side of it, this is more of a known commodity. This team wins style and everything else. Is it different for you?
Well, it's not. I answered it last year when you asked me. I said what? Well, you know what I said. You know what I said. When people asked me last year, you know darn right what I said. I said, yeah, I expect us to go to a bowl game. You know, I've never dodged that question. I'm not going to put any definitive answers on wins and losses or make any predictions. But when I was asked a year ago if you expect to go to a bowl game, I said yes, I did. So you could go back and research that. But I've never dodged it. You know, I said it's important. You know, it's important. Again, going back to that, I mean, you're in year 4. People want results. They don't care how you're building the program. You know what I mean? You do and you don't. You know they're there. You know you're building. You know you're getting to where you want to go. But you just want to see results. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of vultures. I mean that with all the love. Yeah. Yeah. It's very important. I mean, you know, it's important to see progress. You know, it's easy in media or as a fan to see the bottom line. You know, that's easy for everybody. You know, but if you really look closely, it's also important to see progress. And I think many of you work extremely hard at your jobs, and you understand that, and you see that. And I think that's where it's important for us to continue to show progress. However that is, and wins and losses, we'll see. But we go to compete, to practice, to win every football game. And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
See you tomorrow.